What's up, guys? Quick note before I start. In this video I keep saying Spike Lee. I actually mean Stan Lee. Before I made this video, I was actually reading about the Malcolm X movie with Denzel Washington, and that was Spike Lee who made that. And for some reason, I obviously know the difference between Spike Lee and Stan Lee, but for some reason I just was thinking Spike Lee because I just read about that. So if I say Spike Lee, I'm actually referring to Stan Lee. So anyway, cool beans, peace, have a good one. What's up, guys? So growing up, I loved heroes. I was a big video gamer when I was younger, and most of the games I played were like superhero or hero oriented. So what was it? Power Rangers. If you want to consider Mario a superhero, he's kind of the superhero in my opinion. But these guys like Spider-Man and the X-Men, and that's actually the focus of this video. Is something about the X-Men always drew me in, because to me, kind of different than and I like DC for sure, but with X-Men and Marvel, there was something always really edgy about the X-Men, and I think one of the reasons for this is because the X-Men were they represented, unlike kind of other heroes like Superman, and Batman was a bit of an anti-hero, so he's an example of that. But in a sense, a lot of the X-Men they're these heroes who weren't accepted by society, and that was very cool because despite their actions, they were not accepted, and there's this desire for a lot of these heroes to be accepted. Recently, I saw a couple episodes of the 90s X-Men cartoon, which is, I really like it. It's definitely a throwback if you watch it, because it's definitely, you pick up the 90s and 80s vibe. I forget when it came out, maybe like 1991 or 1993. Pretty early in the 90s, but those themes are so strong, about this not being accepted by society and wanting acceptance. In the first couple episodes, Beast is captured, and he has the opportunity to escape from jail. Like the X-Men literally break in and are like, "You can leave," and he's like, "No, I want to go through the court system, and I want to prove to the court, that I'm a normal person, despite if you're familiar with the X-Men Beast, he looks like a gorilla." But he's like a extremely intelligent. I think he was like a scientist or something before. I don't know Beast's background and stuff, but he's extremely educated. So like he's trying to work through the court to be accepted and to get off like legally, as opposed to like just breaking out of prison. So the basic theme behind the underlying theme behind X-Men, when Spike Lee made it, I believe Magneto was Professor X, the leader of the X-Men, was he was a symbol for Martin Luther King. So he was trying to make peace with people. It was the Black Civil Rights Movement was really big during the time Spike was coming up with these ideas for the X-Men. Magneto was a symbol for Malcolm X. So he was kind of just tired of not being accepted anymore, and he's like, "Look, we want to go our own way." I actually, studying Malcolm X back in high school, I have a slightly different perspective of Malcolm X, because I know that in a lot of ways he was seen as an extremist. But if you actually read more about him, you realize that near the end of his life, like he was actually becoming. His attitude, it makes a lot of sense because of everything that was happening. But he was actually moving closer towards, from what I understand, Martin Luther King's way of thinking. before he died, and you know, it's very interesting. But he this whole thing, this underlying concept behind X-Men, it's so real. It's so real, and that's why it sticks out to me, because I feel like the X-Men. I feel like, even though it's fantasy, I'm like, something like that could happen. Like, people could start, you know, there could be like a mutant gene that happens with the next generation, and you know, all of a sudden people have these certain abilities, and some people are not accepting of that, and other people are, you know. And it's interesting because this is seen with, you know, like we've said, civil rights, with you know, people who are gay, any person who is a minority can identify with the X-Men. And it's fascinating because Marvel, from what I understand, Marvel's largest demographic for people who get the comic are I forget exactly, but I believe it's black men and gay men. It might be more broad than that. It might just be like gay people and black people in general. But so this is cool. So like what it's saying is, like, people identify with that. People identify with, you know, these X-Men as feeling like outsiders, but also like respecting. And I love X-Men because what they're trying to teach is, like, you know, despite the fact that you know, the X-Men are these minority, like the mutants are definitely, like, they stand out from the majority. They are so unique, and they're so influential. And so this is, I'm just like, I think it's a very, very cool. I think it's a very, very cool story, and it's a very, very cool, I don't even know, concept that Spike Lee, you know, and in Marvel created, because I think it's just so relatable. And you know, like the anti-heroes, like for example, like Wolverine. I mean, one of the coolest superheroes, in my opinion, because, you know, he's so angry and he's so bitter, yet he's so heroic at the same time. And so, like, he's just got this righteousness about him, despite being so, like, pessimistic in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? So it's a very interesting thing to see. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. Cool beans, guys. Peace. Have a good one.